Greetings and welcome. On today's journey, we open a box of History Pack 1 to see if we can build a Blitz deck out of the contents inside. If we're really lucky, let's see if we can build a CC deck. I don't believe we can, but miracles have been known to happen. Let's get into it. Alright, welcome back. Video is very straightforward today. I don't really think there's much introduction needed, but what we're going to do is we're going to get our nice sharp pointy object, ask for permission, and slice this nice wonderful box of History Pack White Border Edition, which aka is, well, the English print. We do actually, or we were lucky enough to get a hold of one of each of the black label history packs, which those are the history packs from the 4 first released languages. I believe it is Spanish, German, Italian, and French. And we do have those just to keep for a special date later in time. Alright. So, let's get right into it. Alright, as we get into this box of history pack, one of the things we're going to discuss is, as a new player to Flesh and Blood, there's a couple of key components. One of them is classes. So while these packs are only 10 cards, one of the collation components to these packs means that you're going to get a certain amount of cards from different classes. Now that's not guaranteed in any particular pack, but in this case we have a Leg Tap, that's a ninja card. We have Pack Hunt, that's a brute card. We have Stroke of Foresight. We're going to bring this up onto the mat. We'll come over here. So that is a warrior card. We got Ridge Rider Shot, which is a ranger card. Meet and Greet, which is Ruin Blade. Reverberate, which is going to be your wizard. Look at that. We hit an Azalea Ace in the hole. That's going to be kind of nice because the next set supposedly has some ranger action. Yeah. We got a generic here. Whisper of the Oracle. We got our first rare, Reduced to Ruin Chant, and that is going to go in our Ruin Blade pile. And then we have a Guardian card here, which is Towering Titan. Alright, so just from that first pack, you've noticed that you have gotten one card from 8 different classes. And on top of that, you now have, well, technically 2 cards from the Ruin Blade. That's one pack. Now you have 36 packs here. So if we do some basic math when we kind of start looking at this, we can correlate that we will probably have about 36 of each individual class. So for Blitz, because that's what we're going to attempt to try to see if you can make from one of these boxes, again, they're random, so your box is going to be different than what I have here. But you need 40 cards exactly to make a class-specific deck, and you need 11 inventory of basically your equipment slots, and you need the young hero. Now, luckily enough, there are heroes in this, but we hit an adult hero here, so that's not going to help us for the Blitz. But if you talk to enough folks like myself, if you see me at an armory, or anybody else who's been in the game long enough, they'll have some extra heroes if you don't get one in your box to be able to get. Or worst comes to worst, print one off, keep it on a piece of paper, but reality is there's going to be enough heroes to go around, so you should be able to find them. On to the next pack. Alright. Now, off to another start, we got a Leg Tap. One of the things to consider for Blitz here is that you're also going to need a new class, Mechanologist. I'll put that right there. That, our first piece of equipment, and it just happens to be a Mechanologist piece of equipment. And then we have another Ruin Blade card. One thing to consider is that with Flesh and Blood, generics can go in any deck. So in this case, because your Blitz deck is going to be a target of 40 cards, no more or no less, we're hoping to have a decent amount of generics. Now the only other restriction is that you can only have 2 copies of every type of card. Now as an example with Leg Tap, and we're going to demonstrate this for new players, these are called pitch values. This is blue, this is red, and there's also a yellow, which is in the in-between. Each of these technically are a different card in the game of Flesh and Blood, which means you could have 2 blues, 2 yellows, and 2 reds. So if we happen to get 3 or 4 reds and 3 or 4 blues and 3 or 4 yellows, it doesn't help us in the deck building because, well, you can really only run 2 of each, but we'll find out. Alright, we got Savage Swing, we're just basically going to kind of run through this. And honestly, some of this video piece, there's a Kaio. That is a young hero we could choose from, technically. So we actually may just let this video kind of fast forward as I'm and then just kind of go to where all of these are open. But for those of you that like watching openings, I think I'm going to leave this and kind of say another piece that's at this part, jump forward to this to be able to see what's going on. We did hit a red Fate for Scene. Look at that. That is a fantastic card because that is a generic that a lot of people want. And we have our second piece of equipment here, which is the Ninja Arms slot. So that's something useful for us to have. History Pack 1 is also interesting because I haven't seen a lot of folks open this in mass. Man, double one of those. There's a blue Fate for Scene. We got our first Majestic of the box, and that happens to fall into the Ninja category. Now, I will pause right here and say one piece of information that I believe to be, I think it's 100% true. I will go so far as to say that I have yet to see any boxes that have not followed this, so I would say there is a high percentage chance that this statement is correct. There are 12 of the 36 packs that have a Majestic or higher in History Pack 1. Meaning that of the 36 packs, 12 of them will have Majestics or higher. Just know that if you're going to go buy single packs, not that stores are going to do anything crazy, but online, somebody could be facetious, buy a bunch of packs, hit that 12, and then take the others and sell them and know that they're not going to be hits. That is what I believe to be true based on watching a large percentage of box openings, opening a decent chunk of them myself, and basically seeing that you get a grand total of 12 each time. So that's a combination of Majestics and Legendaries. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that's just how things worked out, but it seems to always be that magic number 12. So, all right, we keep going. As you're basically not staring at the top of my head here. There's a generic arm. That's great. Got a ninja weapon. That's in the rare slot. You will see some of those. There are rares that do appear weapon-wise in this set. That was nicked right out of the pack there. So you got Ninja, Guardian, Mechanologist, Ranger. Oh, we got a Dash Boo. Oh, look at that. Knock. There's your second. That's a Majestic. So that's 2 for the box so far. So we have 1 in the Ninja slot and 1 in the Ranger slot. Alright, we got another Ninja card. We're looking really strong on Ninja is what it looks like. If I were building a CC deck, I mean, I feel more comfortable with Ninja in general, I guess. But it looks like Ninja is pretty strong out the gate. But again, when you're building decks, there's a lot of things to consider. And some of the consideration for building decks is not necessarily anything that's insane, like, you know, you're going to build with what you have, or you can technically, you know, most people at armories are going to be like, hey, just proxy that if you don't have it, or if you want to borrow theirs. Sometimes they'll let you put it in their deck. I put the wrong card in the wrong slot there. Unmovable red, that's a great one. We got a token, so that is only good for us to put a token of Seismic Surgeon, so that's not going to help us for our card count here. But what we could almost do is, if we're able to build multiple Blitz decks out of this, what we can do is then we can actually go and have some battles of these decks against each other just to show something hilarious. There's a Kano, or I'm sorry, that's a Blazing Aether. It has Kano on it. So there's that's a Wizard Majestic. That's number 3 in the box. And a Springboard Somersault, most commonly seemingly used in the Ninja decks. It's a generic defense reaction, so I guess it could be used anywhere, but it is nice. Alright, another Ninja action, getting right up in there with Ninja, and you'll notice, like I said, each pack is kind of round-robining around here, and you're just kind of getting one of each of some of these different classes. So we got a Katsu. So we only have 1 young. We have 1, 2, 3, we have 4. And these are just, I mean, they're off off the table, you're not going to see them, so I'm going to leave them out here. But we do have 4 adult heroes, which technically the interesting thing about hitting an adult hero is, I believe this to be true at this time, there are no different abilities between the adult and the young, so you could technically proxy the adult as the young, just know that the health is younger or lower, but you'd have to look up the exact number. As an example, Kano does not equal, like, the number is not a 20, it's a 15 versus, you know, a 30. So, you know, obviously the best bet here is to have the exact card that you need in order to actually play. Like, that's goal number 1. So, oh, speaking of, there's Kano, a young Kano. So now we have 2 youngs that we can look at here. Endless Arrows, there's a second Majestic for the Ranger class. Looking slick, giving us some of the Ranger action. So I'd lean to build a Ranger deck in this bad boy. You also notice that the rares are at the end of History Pack. So you get to go through all the goodies. Oh, there's an Ira, got a Ninja, that's a young one. Then we got a Redliner. Ooh, there you go. That's a Ranger weapon. You know what? Ranger's going to be pretty strong in this box. I'm just saying, that's going to be a pretty fun one. I'm not that good at it, but I could go talk to my buddy Tim. He could probably school me 10 ways from Sunday on how this works. So, let's see here. We got Mechanologist. We got some generic. Oh, look at that. We hit a Majestic. This is Art of War. This is a hot card right now. People are going pretty crazy over that card. People are really, you know, hyping this thing up. I think it's now to about $60 or so, which is kind of insane that it's hit that level, but you know, it is what it is. These, let's see here. Auckland, randomly inserted approximately 8 1 rare individual. I forget, are these made, was this box made in Japan? So these were made in Japan versus made in some of the earlier stuff was made in Belgium, so I didn't know if this was still part of that. What do we got? Got a generic, a warrior, and Mage Master boots. So that's neat. I mean, I don't necessarily need another Art of War, but at this time I won't say no to it, because now I can have more decks with more Arts of War and I don't have to go buy them. So, woohoo! Got a Red Pummel. That's a good generic staple card. Another Majestic here. Arknight Ascendancy. This is a Rune Blade, so there we go. We got Zen State. That is a token. We'll stick that over with a Seismic Surge. And we got the Conduction Amplifier there for Monsieur Mechanologist. Looking forward to Outsiders. Definitely looking forward to that. I am hoping for some mech action, and I don't know what my reaction will be, but I am hoping that there will be some pretty cool stuff. We got Crater Fist. That is a Guardian Majestic weapon. Regular. So I was trying to not mix these stacks up as I talk here. I feel like I should be better at the whole rip and get it open, but the goal of this is not to be fast right now. The goal is to be more accurate and kind of provide some insight to what a person might do if this is what you're opening up. Because I actually thought originally that this probably was not the best approach. There's a Snatch. Not the color I think we need, but it's still a Snatch. And, you know, holistically, I didn't think that it would actually work to build a Blitz deck, but it looks like, Chain Lightning, that there's going to be an opportunity for me to be fairly wrong on this. So, while the deck is probably not going to be very well tuned and probably not going to have, you know, near enough gas to make everything go zoom, it'll be interesting. I think that they'd be probably fairly well powered against each other, I believe. I mean, that seems to be the thought that I'm going for here. But, I mean, if you were to take this and put one of these against a Precon deck, I'm really not sure what would happen. There's a Kisai. So, Warrior, Young Hero. You know, I'm actually thinking about that. That would be kind of interesting, too. Take one of these and do a game and maybe ask 2 really good players to play the deck list as is, just to basically get a understanding of what would happen with those two decks. So there is that, and Warrior. We're getting down to the last. How many is left in this box? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're in the bottom third of the box. Got Brutes, Guardians, Runeblades, Mechanologist, Wizards, another Helmet, Generic, and Warrior. So let's see here. We got 1, 2. I think we had 3, 4, 5. Are we at like 6 Majestics? I think we're actually 6. So there, if you know what, I'm gonna pause here in a second, and we're going to. Oops, I put that in the wrong stack. We're gonna double check.
I have to lean pretty far over the. I don't think I've been in the camera. Oh, there's Route. There's one there. Alright, I'm going to double check. I'm going to bring the Majestics to the top on each card here. So, there's one. I don't think we hit a Brute Majestic. 2. There's a fat stack of Ninja cards. Holy moly. That's a lot of Ninja. There's 1. Alright, so we know that's there. I'll put that over in our weapons. I think we've already gotten up to 2 for Azalea, which is useful because I actually did not have much Azalea. There's 1 for Runeblade. Let's see here, Wizard. We got 1 and 2. We may already be at our max for the box. I didn't really count. I don't think we got any Guardian. No, no Guardian. We got a generic, we got Art of War. So, let's see here. We know that. We haven't hit one for mech because I would have remembered that. I like me the mech ones. Woot! And then in our generic weapons here we have...
Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left. I will make an assumption that there are 3 more Majestics in this box. Or Majestics or higher. I will clarify that it's Majestics or higher. Alright, now that my stacks are a little bit more cleaned up, we'll get back into it here. Mechanologist, Wizard, Weapon, Generic is there. We got Warrior, and Talishar is a weapon. It is generic, so how many rare weapons have we hit? 2, 3. Yeah, it's not terrible. Not terrible. Alright. Slapping them cards down, generic. Last ditch effort. That's 1. So we're probably looking at 2 more, right? Last ditch effort. You know, I still think there'll be a day that that card will be interesting to see actually leveraged. Red Sink Below. Ooh, Heron's Flight. Getting to that danger zone. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That means that there's, I believe, one additional. So, no funny business here. Just trying to convey the truth so that you are not disappointed with the copper. We got a red snatch this time. Red snatch. Alright. Getting down to the last couple of packs. I do think that I was fairly mistaken. It looks like you will be able to create a Blitz deck from a full box of this. But then the question becomes, how good is this versus spending $140 and buying... So how many Blitz decks are available on market right now? So there's 4 from Monarch. Let's call it, I don't know, $10 a piece. So that's 40. You have 3 from, let's see here. So you have, I gotta pause, do math here. So you have 4 from Monarch, 3 from Tails. That's 7. You got 2 from Uprising. That's 9. 9 times 10 is 90. 9 times 2 is 18, called 120. So really, you could basically buy every Blitz deck currently on market or 1 box of History Pack. give or take. I think that the number is negligible. So you could get that many ready-to-play decks, or gamble and build your ready-to-play deck this direction. 2 packs, looking for one. What do you guess? Right or left? I'm thinking it's that one. I could be wrong. Ready, set, and I don't know why I put it on top of where I need to put cards, because that's not helping me any. Azalea, Kino, Mechanologist, double generic. We got it. It's a showtime. It's right there. So that means that was our Guardian, and no legendary in this box. That's all right. You don't need them. That's kind of one of the points in my last video. Wink, wink. All right, we got that going for us. That will be Null Rune, Wizard, and as I expected, you hit your magic number 12 and got there. All right, so we have a Guardian, Guardian Equipment, Generic 1, Generic 2, Wizard 2, Runeblade 1, Ranger 2, Ninja 1, and Warrior 1. So the good news here is you got a really stellar piece of equipment for Guardian. You have Showtime, which is a Bravo specialization, so it's specific to Bravo. We did get Latch's Effort, which it is blue, but really I don't see anybody running it. You got Art of War, popular card. Blazing, Knock the Death Whistle, Azalea specialization. You got Lord of Wind, Katsu specialization, and you got Route. So those are the 12. Now, hero-wise, we kind of got a weird myriad of heroes here. These were the adults, and these were young. So if you were really just saying, I'm going to stick to one of the youngs, you got a warrior, a ninja, a wizard, and a brute. And obviously there are additional heroes that we did not open here. There is a young Katsu, a young Dash, a young Dorinthia, a young Azalea as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 8 heroes that if you wanted to just pick, you could very much go there. Now let's just kind of be ridiculous here and see, is there a class missing a hero in this current table? So we have Warrior, we have Ninja, we have Wizard, we have Brute, you have Ninja, you have Mechanologist, you have Warrior, and you have Ranger. So we did not get a Runeblade hero. We did not get a Guardian hero, aka we didn't get Bravo. So yeah, that's where that would be. Now, there are again other heroes. So if you take out the generics here, we're going to move Dash over. I think my lens got droopoed, so, or I rearranged everything. It could very well be a thing. So, all right, that is going to be what we got. So, realistically, other than needing a Runeblade hero or needing a Guardian hero, then everything else, these are all generics. Now, interesting enough, because these are all generics, what that means is that we would have a lot of cards to fill in the gaps in our decks. Now, whether or not we have all of the required cards, or required in quotation, for what you're going to want to play, that I don't know. But I will go so far as to say that basically, I think that you'll be able to make some okay decks, at least in a couple of these that I saw, but as an example, I'm sure Dory is missing a large chunk of the rares that you would need. Katsu's missing a large chunk of the rares. Mechanologist is missing. Pretty much all the rares here are going to be very light, which means these decks are going to be very, very low power. Which goes back to, I think a Blitz deck is a great choice. But the good news is, you do have some bangers like Art of War. But when you start adding the Majestics back in here, so we got, again, that's a generic, so we'll put that over there. We got, that's a weapon, we'll put that there. This is Guardian, we'll put that there. Ninja gets some action. Another generic. We got 2 Wizards. We got 1 Runeblade, didn't get that. We got 2 for Azalea. We got another Ninja, and we got 1 single Warrior Majestic. So, right off the cuff here, and then let's go in one step further. So we have generic equipment, and we have non-generic equipment. So let's pull out the generic equipment. Generic, 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 generic. Alright, so we got one ninja, we got a mech, we got guardian over here, we got wizard, we got a ninja weapon, we got a ranger weapon, got a guardian weapon, a guardian head, a mech shoes again, a ranger, a warrior, a brute chest, a rune blade, and a ninja. So, duplication wise, you got doubles, and you have his weapon here. Again, this was a token. This was a double-sided token. Very common, very easy to get. We only have the single robe here. We do have a different bow. We got redliner, and then we have bullseye bracers. You got just the boots there. It looks like we had one needle. We didn't even get a Kadachi, which, if you're not familiar with what that means, that is typically the go-to weapon in the ninja suite from the first couple of sets. So that's a problem, because now we're going to have to add things in on top of this that were not originally planned. Now we did get, let's see here, so we have Iron Rot, we got Goliath Null Rune, we got Null Rune, Hardened Cross Straps, a head, Mage Master Boots, a Talishar, which is again a generic weapon we could choose, and Vest. So we didn't get the full suite of armor, we didn't get the full suite of armor, and we got a Goliath Gauntlet, which is actually something that I do typically run in Dash, but it's not something that, you know, I mean, you could run this here, obviously, to fill in gaps, but there is enough in this that you'd be able to do something. Now, obviously, with this Crater Fist, that's specific to Guardian, so there you go. At this point, I'm going to say this video is done, but one of the things to consider here is, I'm gonna get all big on you here. One of the things to consider is that not only is this an interesting assortment of cards, but not all of these are going to make good decks. I guarantee that this warrior stack of cards, even if you mixed in this stack of generics, so again, look at the amount of generics we have. It's damn near a 2-to-1 ratio on generics to that. So there's going to be a lot of generics that we can add into this deck. So you're definitely going to be able to, so checkbox, you will get the ability to probably make a Blitz deck. I would almost call that a guaranteed, that between your generics and that, you'll be able to make some sort of basic deck. Will that deck be any good? Probably not. I would almost go and say that a Blitz deck that is at least tuned to have rares, commons, and just all-around function, as well as give you the full equipment suite, mind you. So one thing that we're not discussing as much here is that the value of equipment, even in the common slots, can be completely detrimental, or it can change the outcome of a game. So I randomly walked over and just arbitrarily picked up one Blitz deck. This is a Phi. So the Phi cards right here, again, you're going to get the hero, Phi. The token, don't really need to worry about that. You do get the weapon for that hero. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of equipment, which is your legs, chest, head, and arms. Now, I just want to point this out. They're all common, and in this case, there's 2 generics and 2 for that class, but the rest of the deck, you get 1, 2, 3... Let's see here, 3, 4... There's 4 rares in this entire deck. But there's a lot of 2-ofs of a lot of these cards in this deck. So, while there's not a lot of rares, this deck may or may not function better than whatever jank we're about to build with this here. So, watch for the next video where we take one of these decks, roll a D... What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's 8. We're going to roll a D8, and we're going to face off against a coin flip. We'll have a Phi and a Dromai. Or actually, yeah, that'll be easier. I'd rather do, okay, so we're going to head here. So stay tuned for the next video where we're going to roll a D8, select one of these heroes, and then we're going to battle against this pre-constructed Phi deck and see how fair it might be for a precon to take on the jank that we've just built with this box of History Pack 1. At least we got an Art of War.
Your captain.
One last just quick piece of information about that box. Again, there were 12 Majestics in there. So I added up the grand total of these cards, and basically this is the hits of the box, right? There's 12 of them. 15 cents, and from there on up all the way to basically Blazing Aether, these are less than or about $1. I think Blazing Aether is about $2 at time of shooting here. So you're talking that this is, I believe it was like $7, $8. When you add in this Endless Arrows, so 10 of the 12 Majestics in this box, the value here is $15. The value in the box is really just these two cards at $60 and $18.50. So 60, 70, 80. We'll call that $80, and we'll call this, for sake of argument, $10. So that's $90 in the 12 cards. And then the rest of it, which basically is the remainder of the box, would need to be basically about $50 worth of value to get it at MSRP, which is $140. Time of shooting, the value of that box is, one second, the value of that box is about $112. So when you take $80 and say that that's there, you have, we'll call it 120, which means you got 15 here, so we'll call that $100 in here, and that's $20 worth of commons and rares. Does the box equal out? This time, didn't seem as much. That said, there's several legendaries, especially the Tunic, which is now going for $250. So your mileage will definitely vary, but I haven't seen one of these boxes with 2 legendaries in it yet. If you do, let me know. I'd like to see it.